Good morning, children. Today we will start the new chapter, tissues. We have done cells and this is the second chapter. So, we know that suppose this is cell. This is cytoplasm and this is the nucleus. Now, depending upon the number of cells, there may be two types of living organism. One, they are known as unicellular, all of you know. And second, they are multicellular. What is the difference between these two? Uni means one. So the organism, complete organism having a single cell is unicellular, and multi means many. If many cells are present, and the cells, they are millions and millions of cells are present in big organisms, then they are multicellular. So the most common example of unicellular, all of you know, is we can take amoeba. The other examples are paramecium, chlamydomonas, yeast, and many others. And multicellular, all of us know, we, the human being, cat, rabbit, anything, all the plants, neem, mango, all are multicellular. So, do you know that in human beings, there are about 37.2 trillion cells are present in our body. They may be more or less depending upon the size of the person, but an average 37.2 trillion. How many? These are not million, billion and then trillion. These cells are present in a average human body. So unicellular and multicellular, both are doing their life processes. All the functions of life are being carried out by uni as well as multi, but in uni all the functions, they are being carried out by the single cell, like nutrition, respiration, excretion, reproduction. Amoeba can do all the life process, but in a simple manner. So it has no tissues. A single cell is doing all the functions. But in multicellular, as the number of cells is much more, these are complex organisms, so they have different tissues for different functions to do. Like if we are taking our food, so this is nutrition. So nutrition is done by a number of organs: mouth, esophagus, all these, stomach, intestines, and all these organs, they are made by different tissues. And what are these tissues? Tissues are group of similar cells. So the complete definition of tissue is group of cells which are doing a special function of a living organism together. They act together and a specific job is done. A group of or cluster of cells, and this is the definition of tissue. So multicellular organisms, they need different type of tissue to perform different functions. These tissue together, they form organ. The organ forms organ system, and the different organ systems together, they form a complete living organism. For example, take the digestive system of human being. Many tissues, they form the buccal cavity or the mouth cavity. Then different type of tissues, they form esophagus. Then another set of tissue form the stomach, intestines and rectum and all that. And these are different organs of which system? Digestive system. So tissues form organ, organ form organ system, and organ system form the complete organism. All the organ systems like digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, all these systems which are doing different life activities, different life processes, they form a complete organism. And the basis or at the base of this system is tissue, which is only a cluster of or group of similar cells which together form a specific function. Here in unicellular, there is no division of labor. All the work is done by a single cell. But in multi, there is division of labor and the cells are specialized for that function. Division of labor means different functions of the body, they are done by different set of cells. This is division of labor. And for that particular function, the cells, they are specialized. So this is how the tissues are there in living organism. Now the next question arises, we have living organisms in the form of plants and animals. Are the tissues of both plant and animals are same? No, we know that the tissues are quite different. So we have to study the tissues of both separately. Why they are different? Because there is a vast difference between plants and animals. You can recall some, suppose plants and animals. The first is plants are stationary and animals, they are mobile. This is the prime difference. The second most important difference, that plants are autotrophic. They are forming their food by themselves. Animals, they are heterotrophic. Like respiratory system, here is different. Just the exchange of gases by the stomata is respiration in plants. But animals, like human beings, we have a complete respiratory system from nostrils, this nostrils to lungs. Then circulatory system, it is quite simple by xylem and phloem only. But in animals, in human beings, a complete circulatory system is there. So animals are complex and plants are comparatively simple. So the tissues are also different. The simple tissue, they are present in plants, and in animals, complex tissues are present for doing the complex functions of life processes. So we have to study the tissues in plants and animals separately. So first of all, we will study the tissues in plants or plant tissues. Plant tissues, they can be divided into two types. The first are meristematic tissue, and the second type are permanent tissue. So meristematic and permanent, two type of plant tissues we have to study. This is plant tissue. So first we will take meristematic. Meristematic, the word originated from a Greek word. The Greek word is merizion. Merizion means to divide. It means this meristematic tissue, the cells of this tissue, they divide and they grow and they develop. So the dividing tissue is known as meristematic tissue. Cells are ever dividing and they increase the size of the plant. And this meristematic tissue, the cells, they have some special qualities. What happened? Suppose this is the cell of meristematic tissue. We know that is the cells of the plants, they are covered by a cell wall which is made up of cellulose. And it is a strong wall and this wall gives protection to the and mechanical support to the cell of the plant. So this cell, which is of meristematic tissue, it has a thin cellulose cell wall because it is ever dividing. It has to divide, so the cell wall is quite thin in comparison to the cell wall of permanent tissue. This is the first characteristic. Second is cytoplasm is quite dense. This is the nucleus and the cytoplasm is quite dense, having many nutrients as it has to divide. And the third is there is no vacuole. In plant cells we know a big vacuole is present in the middle of the cell and all the cytoplasm it's around the periphery, but in these cells vacuole is absent as they have to divide in early stages and there is no need for storage of food. In vacuoles food is stored. Here there is no need. One cell, it divides into two daughter cells are formed, then this daughter cell again divide into two. So different cells are formed from the pre-existing cell. Now by dividing the number of cells, it increases. As the number increases, the volume also increases. So when the volume of a part of a plant increases, it grows in size. So this is how these meristematic tissue, it helps in growth of the plant. Depending upon the site or the place where the meristematic tissue is present, it is divided into three categories. The first is apical meristem, second is intercalary meristem, and third is lateral meristem. You can write with each meristem. So, three types of meristematic tissue are there. One is apical, intercalary and lateral. What are these? In this diagram, this is the diagram showing different meristematic tissue depending upon its place or position. This is the first one, apical. Apical again divided into two, stem and root. Apical meristem of stem, apical meristem of root. Again divided into, the word apical comes from the word apex or tip. This is the tip of the stem or the apex of the stem. So at the apex of the stem, the meristematic tissue which is present is known as apical meristem of stem. It is present at tip or apex. So here different meristematic cells are present which are dividing again and again, and the height of the plant is increasing by division of these cells. Likewise, this is the figure of root apex. This is the root apex and this is root cap. Here in this region, the apical meristem of root is present, which is dividing and root size increases. Above this meristem, the vascular system and the other permanent cells are present, and root hairs, they grow from this region of maturation. So two type of apical, one at the stem tip, other at the root tip. Now the second is intercalary. Intercalary meristematic tissue. Inter means within, where you know these are nodes. These are nodes. You can see, if you see, suppose this is sugarcane or bamboo stem. You must have seen this. So in sugarcane or bamboo, these are the joints which are present. These joints are nothing but nodes. From these nodes, leaves and branches, they arise. In between the two nodes, this region is known as internode. So in this diagram you can see these are the nodes, these are the leaves, and this red one, they are the intercalary meristems. This is internode, this between two nodes, this region is internode, and this intercalary meristem, it is present on both side of node. What it is doing here, when it divides, when the cells here divides in young stems, the height of the stem or height of the plant increases. These area increases. The second place for this intercalary meristem is at the base of the leaves, mostly in monocotyledons. So it is present at the base. You must be knowing that there are grass fields. Grass is monocotyledonous plant, and this grass, it is being grazed by cattle. And if the grass is being grazed by the cattle, half of the leaf, it is being gone in the stomach of cattle, but after few days we see that the grass again grows, the leaf again grows. Why? Because at the bottom, at the base of the leaf, this meristem is present, which helps in growing the leaf again. So this intercalary, it is present on both sides of nodes in internode and at the base of leaves in monocotyledonous plants. Now the third type, lateral meristem. These two are known as primary meristems because they are formed by the original cells, but lateral meristem, it is known as secondary meristem. Why secondary meristem? Because it is developed from the permanent cells afterwards. Not the primary one, it is the secondary one. Two type of lateral meristems are there. It can be classified into two. One which is formed by vascular cambium, or it is also known as fascicular cambium. So just you know vascular, and the second meristem which is formed by cork cambium. So where are these vascular and cork cambium are present, and how these are known as lateral meristem? In this figure you can see that the lateral meristem, it is present here at the lateral side of the stem towards the periphery. These two lines, they show lateral meristem in stems. Now where are the two types of meristem? The lateral one, in this diagram, what is this diagram? It is the diagrammatic representation of transverse section of stem. So this is circular. So this is the outermost layer is epidermis, and these are epidermal cells are like this. We will study when we will study the permanent tissue. This is the epidermal cell. Below this epidermal cell, later in the life, when the plant becomes mature, a cambium it develops, and this cambium is cork cambium. This red line, it is the cork cambium which develops beneath this outer layer of epidermis. What does it do? It cuts, because it is meristematic, so it shows division. So it divides to form, suppose this is the lateral meristem or the cork cambium, this red line. So it divides and give these cells on its outer side and some cells on its inner side. So these outer cells, they form cork or bark. Below the epidermis, this is present. It cuts some cell outside to form cork or bark, and below the cells are formed which together with the cortex, later we will study, they form the bark of the tree. So this is one lateral cambium known as cork cambium. The main lateral cambium is vascular cambium or fascicular cambium. Why? This is the TS of stem. In the inner side, all these vascular bundles, we will study them afterwards. They are arranged in rings. These are vascular bundles. What do we mean by vascular bundle? Which conduct water and food inside the stem and roots. So this is one vascular bundle. On the upper side, phloem cells are present, and on the lower side, xylem cells are present, or xylem tissue is present, which is complex permanent tissue. In between these tissue, this red line, it shows that this is the vascular cambium. It is developed later on, that's why it is secondary cambium, and this cambium, it is meristematic in nature. What does it do? When the plant becomes mature, it attains some age, then this cambium, vascular cambium, the cells of vascular cambium are brick-like, small, thin-walled, rectangular cells like the bricks. So this is cambium. It cuts on its outer side phloem cells and on its inner side xylem cells. So this is cambium, vascular cambium, this is xylem, and this is phloem. On outside, phloem cells are being cut. It divides to form phloem cells, and on inner side, it divides to form xylem cells. So this is again a meristematic tissue inside the vascular bundle. So the lateral meristem, what is their function? They help in secondary growth of stem. What does it mean? It means that the girth or the width of the stem is being, the width is increased by the function of this and this meristem. It forms the cork and this forms the annual rings. Each year one ring is formed, and by counting the number of rings we can know the age of the plant. I want to tell you one example of this cambium or the annual rings, or how the width or girth of the stem is increased. There is a tree known as sequoia tree. These sequoias, they are found in California. In National Park of California, many sequoia are also known as redwood tree. So these are present. Can you imagine what can be the diameter or width of the stem of these sequoias? It may be up to or more than 30 feet in diameter. The sequoia is, how much is this? 30 feet. And in length, they are about 250 feet. 250 means about 26-story building. So this is the width is due to this vascular and cork cambium. And there is a photo on Google that if this is the width of this sequoia, in between a tunnel is made on the road so that the cars or motor cars can be passed through this tunnel of the sequoia stem. They are so wide, and this width is due to the function of lateral meristem. So this is about the meristematic tissue in plants, and in next we will study the permanent tissue. So this is all for this lecture. Thank you. Take care.